So this next lesson takes us to talking about population pyramids. So maybe since we introduced this whole section, maybe you've been thinking about what a pyramid may have to do with a population. Do we create a pyramid where we stick populations in? What does this have to do with? So today in section 3.4, we are going to first of all define population pyramids, explain how they are created, and then work to interpret some data from a variety of population pyramids around the world. At the end of today's lecture and lesson, you are going to be writing 3 things that you learned, 2 things that you found interesting, and then a question that you still have, either something that wasn't clear in the lecture or something that you thought was interesting and you would like to research further. So one question that you have that you would like to look for. The first thing I'd like you to do in this lesson is take a stand. Here is an argument that some have made, and I would like you to agree or disagree with it. So here's the argument. Governments in countries with fast-growing populations should make laws to limit the number of children that couples have. Again, this is generally referring to places that are in danger of overpopulation, where the food supply is not reaching all of the people, where maybe the country's income, the taxes that are being taken in, are not meeting the needs. Maybe there are too many children being born and they cannot be supported. So this is an argument that is often made in those types of countries. So what I would like you to do at this time is I would like you to think, do you agree, strongly agree, not sure, disagree, or strongly disagree? And I'd like for you to write what your position is and then explain why. I'd really like you to not go with the not sure if you're not if possible. If you don't have any idea what this is talking about, then perhaps you can do not sure. But I would really like you to take a physical stand on this and be willing to stand up and discuss your feelings about this topic. So take a moment and do that at this time. So here is a definition of a population pyramid. A population pyramid is a graph that is used to chart the age categories of the population. It is a bar chart. It is arranged vertically, which means side to side, and it shows the distribution of a population by both age and sex, whether male or female. So try to imagine what this might look like. First of all, it is a bar chart, so it's going to kind of look like a bar graph. The bars are arranged vertically, so they go side to side. On that graph, it's going to show not only the sex of each side, the male and female of the population, but it's also going to show by age. So by groupings, 0 to 5, 5 to 15, 15 to 20, etc. So I'm going to click here. This is a great online resource called Visual Capitalist. So if you want to go to Visual Capitalist Population Pyramids, you could probably find this. This is a visualization of the 10 largest countries of the world. So it says China and India may have similar populations, but they have very different demographic destinies. That means their future. While China should see its population fall in the coming decades, India projects to be the most populous country in 2050 by a long shot. By that time, India will have up to 1.7 billion people, and Mumbai, again, that's a city in India, will be the largest megacity in the world with upwards of 42 million people. So here are some comparisons. It says these kind of feature trends are not evident from the base population figures alone. They become much clearer when we look at a population pyramid. So again, a population pyramid is going to help us predict the future of a country. So here's some animations, the 10 most populous countries. So here is Indonesia. These are 2017 numbers. Pakistan, Nigeria. You see some of them are true pyramids. Some of them are a little, like look at this one here. It's not a true pyramid. It's a different shape. Here's the United States. So again, you can see these top 10. They've scrolled through. If you'd like to go see them a little bit more, you can take a look there. But this is a population pyramid. Remember I told you it was distributed by male versus female, and then by age groups. Over here are age groups. And down here is the percentage of the total population. So for instance, 3.1% of all males that are 0 to 4, that's 3.4% of the entire country, is a boy that is 0 to 4. If you look at Mexico, 4.5% of the population is a male between the age of 0 and 4. You can see that some of these countries have very low percentages at the top. Obviously, once we get past 75, most countries are going to have a lower percentage at the top than they do at the bottom. But you can tell, like Russian Federation, they have a lot of older people. So again, you can check that out if you like. Eventually in 2027, whatever's down here will move up a little bit. And if there's not a high birth rate in the country, then this bottom portion is going to start thinning out and becoming smaller like these countries. A high birth rate is going to mean more people down at the bottom. Like, let's see if we can find one here. So again, Pakistan, Nigeria, those have high birth rates. That's why they have so many children in their country. If it's smaller here, they're going to have a lower birth rate. So that's a definition of a population pyramid. Again, here's another sample we can look at. This will usually be males on the left and females on the right. If you go down to the bottom, about 8.5% of the entire country, this is a sample country, it's not really any specific country, but this is a sample country, 8.5% of the entire population is a boy age 0 to 4. If you look on the right side, the gray bar, about 8.5% of the total population is a female between the age of 0 to 4. So here are the different types of population graphs that I'd like you to know. And this is overall in the world around 2005. But let's compare these here. We have less economically developed countries. So these are the countries that are still very agrarian. They're focusing on agriculture. They do not have a lot of industry. They tend to form a true pyramid shape. If you'll notice, there are more children than there are elderly people. In a more economically developed country, we also call that an MEDC, the pyramid doesn't take on a true pyramid shape. It might have a bow in the middle. It may have very thinned at the bottom, depending upon how many children they have. 3 patterns of population change, and these are representative of some countries in the year 2000, but we have 3 different ones here. Countries that have rapid growth, that means their NIRs are very high. They are going to tend their populations to double in fewer years than a lower NIR. So a rapid growth, high NIR, an example would be the Democratic Republic of Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the countries in Africa. A lot of countries in Africa you will see take on a pyramid shape of a rapid growth place. They are also, if you remember, less economically developed shaped. They coincide with one another. Most less economically developed countries have rapid growth. Now, if you look at slow growth, you'll see that there's more evenness. There's even kind of a bulge in the middle, so that your population between the ages of 20 to 50 are higher than children and elderly. The future of a slow growth country would mean that there's probably going to be fewer and fewer people going to the middle and more elderly living longer in economically developed countries. And some of the things that could happen in the future is that there might be too many elderly people that need care and not enough people in the middle section who are able to work. If you only have a lot of kids in your country and not a lot of the middle section, you don't have a lot of people who are there to support the bottom numbers of people and the younger people. And then over on the far right, you have a negative growth. So you can see that it's almost backwards. Their population pyramid is thicker at the top and thinner at the bottom. That would be a slow growth or a lower NIR. So I'd like you to think for a moment, how is this information helpful? How can these population pyramids actually help demographers, politicians, economists, merchants, business people predict what is needed for a country? For instance, if a country is in rapid growth, Remember what rapid growth looks like. It is that true pyramid. How can the country prepare? Well, there are a lot of children that live in that country. So maybe they need to provide more schools to educate those kids. Perhaps they need better health care that caters towards pediatrics. So that might be a good career to choose in the future. There might be a rise in the GNI, which is the gross national income per person. We might have to find ways to raise that if we're going to have lots of kids to support in the years ahead. If the growth is slow, what should the country prepare to do? So again, healthcare needs to now focus on elderly people because we don't have a lot of children being born. Our NIR is slow. We're having a progressively high amount of people who are living and not a lot of people in that lower section or even the middle section in years ahead. So slow growth areas may be places where they need geriatric physicians. So that might be a career. Also programs for aging population, thinking about retirement programs and retirement resorts and what to do for those people. So career selection becomes extremely valuable in regards to population projections. In your future, you may want to look at what the population of our country would be and what types of careers may be available that would be beneficial and available and useful in the future. So you're going to write down some things that you've learned today. I'd like you to take a moment, write down 3 things you've learned, 2 things that you found interesting, 1 question that you still have. So I'll give you a moment to do that.